Hello, everybody. Today we are here with a very special distinguished guest at the University of Central Asia in Narin. I am sitting with Professor Said Arjomand from the State University of New York. He's the founder and the editor of the journal Persian Studies. And Said is here to participate in the conference called Post-Imperial Constellations, Society, Environment, and Identity, and presented an exciting paper a couple of days ago. And here we are to ask a question about Said's experience and his impression of the conference and his contribution to the conference, and possibly about the university and his experience overall here in Nari.
Well, let me say I'm delighted to be here, both at the Central Asian University and also in Kyrgyzstan, as a founder of this Association for Study of Persian Societies. We did have our first convention in Tajikistan in 2002, and we did actually open a branch in Tashkent for a while, but but I never came any further east. So it's really a pleasure to be in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek, and now here in Narin. And it's really added to my experience. It's a kind of a different, it's quite different from the other Central Asian countries that I've been to, Samarkand, Bukhara, Khojand, and Dushanbe. And I think Bishkek is a very interesting contrast. Osh I'm looking forward to seeing, but I haven't. Now, as far as the topic, I'm interested in it also, but not centrally, but I had to kind of learn about, that's part of my learning process. And I did give a paper on Iran and its role in post colonial post-imperial constellations. And I learned a lot by doing it because it was a very interesting contrast because, of course, the October Revolution in Russia happens 1917. The big modernization of Iran really begins in 1921. And the Central Asia, the Russians, really Bolsheviks, get here in the late 20s, if anything, later than Iran. So it was very interesting essay attempt to compare the two very divergent paths of modernization in the two countries and then the consequences of it. So that's, I think, is very refreshing, but you don't, I was always against this this idea that modernization meant the same thing all over the world. So it's kind of, it was good to have a chance to contrast these two patterns.
Excellent. So, how did you find the conference overall? We have participants from different universities, different countries, and also local participants about
Yes.
Kyrgyzstan and Central Asia.
Well, I think the local participants, I think, interacted with them. I would have said if there were more of them, it would have been better, probably. I mean, there is this connection of distance between Khoro, and we've had through internet, but it's not really quite the same as seeing people in person and then chatting and carrying on the conversation afterwards, etc.
Absolutely. And we had one presentation by one of UCA's graduates as well. A very
Yes.
young, still freshly
Well, that was
graduated.
very interesting. I enjoyed that very much, especially as it was about
Narin.
media. Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's the way of the future. My son is a sociologist of the media, but I belong to the older generation, so it was a pleasure seeing that too.
Yeah, we listened to a podcast produced by him about Narin, and
Right,
Yeah.
that was very interesting.
very interesting. So, what is your impression of the university? You have been here on campus for the third day.
Well, I think it's very interesting experience. It's very different from other
Mm.
big universities. I think this idea of having a university in mountainous communities as opposed to the center is really commendable idea. I haven't been to Hora, but I think I'm very impressed with what you're doing here, and I think it's really very important for these communities to have this facility, and I think that's and of course nowadays with with the media, etc., with the IT, you connect to the world no matter where you are.
Very short answer. What would you take away from Naryn and the conference and University of Central Asia? Going back home, what would you say to your family or to friends? Just one little short sentence.
Well, because if I'm going to Iran first, and I would say, well, this is really unusual that you have high quality education provided in these small communities, which is not remotely like what's happening in Iran. Of course, there you did have very good quality in major universities, but even that has been destroyed. For the U.S., it is different. I think it would again be a very interesting contrast that you do have a university where the students don't have to pay huge tuitions and basically are supported, and all that I think is very positive.
Fantastic. It was a great pleasure to come to know you, actually, Professor Arjomand. And thank you so much for your time and for the interview, and wish you all the best.
My pleasure. Thank you.